friends, I'm Sarah. Welcome back to my channel, Sunset Bow Tarot. It's been a long time since I've made a video. I don't think that I have posted anything since like October or November maybe. So it's been a couple of months. I've been having a nice break from social media, to be perfectly honest. I've still been doing all kinds of tarot stuff and journaling and just more taking a break from just the social media end of it. I hit a point in the pandemic when I just kind of needed a break, so I took one and it's been really great for me. But now I would really love to get back into making some videos and participating in the community again. So I decided that a good kind of first topic to talk about is a video on some deck hits and misses that I've had over the past couple of months. Like I said, even though I haven't been making videos, I have been spending a lot of time doing tarot. I've still been purchasing decks and I've still been doing readings and I've still definitely had decks come into my collection, some that worked and some that didn't. And since, it's been several months and I haven't had a chance to talk about any of these yet, I figured what I would do is sort of walk through some of the decks that I acquired over the past several months and just talk a little bit about which ones worked for me, which ones didn't, and, just kind of give you guys an update on what I've been working with and enjoying, or not working with / not enjoying. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to kind of alternate decks that were hits and some decks that were misses. And so I thought I'd start with talking about one of my biggest hits of the last several months, and that is the Tarot of Mystical Moments by Katrin Welts-Stein. This deck has just been a wonderful, wonderful discovery for me. I've been reading with this one a lot. I got it a while ago. I got it when it still wasn't available on Amazon. I did order it directly from US Games. And I absolutely am loving this one. I do have this artist's Oracle as well, which is called the Oracle of Mystical Moments. And it's one of those decks where I've never felt like I had a very easy time reading with it, but I loved the artwork so much that I just honestly couldn't let it go from my collection. But when this artist did a tarot, I had been keeping an eye on her Instagram and watching the artwork that she'd been creating, and I was so excited about this tarot, and it has not disappointed. So again, this is the Tarot of Mystical Moments. You can see that it's digital collage. She does a lot of work with sort of vintagey looking images that she collages together, and this deck, from the moment I picked it up and started reading with it, has just spoken so clearly every time. These images are super intuitive. There's so much that's suggested by each of them, and it has never failed to give me a really incisive and on point reading. And I also think that the artwork is absolutely beautiful. This is very much this kind of whimsical sort of vintagey looking aesthetic is an aesthetic that I really enjoy. So I have been absolutely loving this one. I think it's just insanely gorgeous. The other cool thing about this deck is that she does give you a choice for all the kings. Let me see if I can find one of the kings here. Each of the kings, as well as the emperor, comes with a male version and a female version, which is pretty awesome. That she gives you that option. I think her original idea with this deck, here you can see the King of Pentacles. This is the masculine version of the King of Pentacles. There's also a feminine version of the King of Pentacles. And she gives you the option of choosing, which one you want to work with. I actually ended up choosing all of the masculine versions of the kings. That literally was just me going through one by one and deciding that I actually liked the symbolism in the masculine versions better. I can't decide yet whether or not I like the feminine emperor or the masculine emperor better. I've actually kind of switched back and forth on the emperor, but it's really nice to have that option. So if you really want, a very feminine energy deck, this is definitely a deck where you have that option available to you. And as you can see, the artwork is just incredibly lovely. So this deck has been a massive hit for me. I've read with it a lot, and I just really am loving it. It really just hit the mark for me so well. And it has silver gilding on the edges. It goes nicely. I'm not that enchanted with gilding typically, but it is very pretty. It is glossy cardstock, but I don't mind. I feel like the colors really pop in this deck, and so, you know, the cardstock really doesn't bother me at all, even though it is glossy and I would prefer matte. It's still just fine. Comes in a nice box. The guidebook is nice because it does actually explain the symbolism of what's going on in the card image, and fundamentally it is just a really gorgeous deck. So this has been one of my biggest hits over the last couple months. So next, let's take a look at one of my misses. So this is the Wandering Star Tarot. I haven't actually had this for very long. I just got it, I don't know, last week sometime maybe. And I did back this on Kickstarter. I absolutely loved the artwork of it. I think the artwork is really beautiful. You know, it's a beautifully produced deck. It's really nice in its packaging. It comes with a little guidebook. The cardstock is nice. It does have gold gilding on the edges. Again, doesn't, you know, I don't really care one way or the other, but it has a lot of beautiful foiling on the backs. I mean, it's a really beautiful deck, and I really love the artwork. Just to note that all of the decks that are misses for me, I have put back in order because I am going to be selling these. So, one thing you'll notice is you might be surprised that I actually did back this one because it does have keywords in the artwork. But the keywords on this actually don't bother me, and this is not the reason that it was a miss for me at all. It has nothing to do with the keywords. And the keywords are like, they're very unobtrusive. They're kind of blended into the artwork, and it's very easy to not pay attention to them and just look at the rest of the artwork. So that I knew going in that it had keywords, and having looked at the artwork, I didn't feel like they would bother me because I felt like they were easy to ignore and kind of blended in, and that did end up to be true. I don't know why I'm not able to get along with this deck, but even though I love the artwork, it's just one of those ones where I love the artwork, but it just doesn't talk to me. Like nothing, it feels very flat when I try to do a reading with it. Nothing like comes out at me. It's so different from like the Tarot of Mystical Moments, for example, where that deck just immediately spoke and spoke and spoke just like so clearly. And this one, I lay down cards and it's like, I'm not getting anything out of it. And again, it's no criticism of the artwork. It's no criticism of the deck. It's one of those just super personal things where I just don't happen to respond to this one, and I don't have a good explanation as to why. But so I am going to be letting this one go. Like I said, I do think it's incredibly beautiful, beautifully produced, beautiful artwork. I generally really like this sort of slightly naive, sort of folk arty kind of artwork. I usually really enjoy that, and I like it in this deck as well, but I don't know what it is. I don't get anything coming out of this deck at me, and I don't know why. So anyway, so I am going to be letting go of the Wandering Star Tarot. Again, one of those ones I was really expecting to like, and even, you know, the keywords, which are the reason you might expect I wouldn't be into this deck, did not bother me at all, but I am still just struggling to connect with it or to, you know, have it communicate to me. So I am going to be letting this one go. So next up is another hit for me. I've got it in this beautiful bag by Betsy from The Bee and the Snake. This is the Oak, Ash, and Thorn Tarot. This deck is stunning. I was so excited when this went up on Kickstarter. I'm not generally a big animal deck person. I don't actually have a ton of animal-based tarots. But this one I was so excited about, and specifically the artist who did this deck, whose name is Adam Ohlers, I think is how you pronounce his name. I'm a huge fan of him, and I've actually been a fan for a long time. Like, I even own one of his prints. I followed him on Instagram for years, on my like normal Instagram, not my tarot Instagram. And I think he's just an incredible artist. And so when I saw that he was doing a tarot deck, I like lost my mind. I was so excited, because you can see just how beautiful and whimsical his artwork is. And so this was absolutely a must back for me on Kickstarter, and it has not disappointed at all. Again, this is another deck where I started reading with it and it just instantly started speaking, and you know, I was very comfortable with it right away, and I really, really love the imagery and love the animals, and it's honestly just an incredibly beautiful, wonderful deck. So this has been a massive hit for me. Again, it's another one that I've worked with quite a bit over the last couple months since I got it, and I really, really love this one. So, I mean, the artwork is just so beautiful. So beautiful. So anyway, that is the Oak, Ash, and Thorn Tarot. And again, you know, not usually a huge animal deck person, but that is one of the ones where it was instantly kind of in my wheelhouse. Now for a miss on the animal deck side. And I need to make sure that everybody knows, like, I have no like substantive criticism of any of the decks that I'm treating as misses. They're all beautiful decks. It's not like they're not going to work for anybody or there's anything wrong with them. They just didn't happen to work for me for whatever reason. So this deck is the Wilderwoven Tarot. And this is an absolutely beautiful deck. I saw this on initially on Lisa from Supportive Tarot. I saw it on one of her, I think, Say Yes to the Deck videos. And again, this deck is stunning. It's stunning. The artwork of it is so creative and interesting and wonderful. So you can see here, and again, it's back in order because I am going to be selling it. But you can see how he does these silhouettes with white space, and then inside the silhouette is this painting that gets at the meaning of the card. And I mean, there's just like, it's so beautiful. Look at this High Priestess. It's so beautiful. So there are a lot of cards in this deck that I really, really love. And then there are also some cards where the choice of the symbolism just didn't quite resonate with me fully. So I was sort of iffy on some of the cards. And again, it has nothing to do with anything being wrong with the deck or the reasons why he chose the particular symbolism he chose. They were just ones that didn't fully, resonate with me for whatever reason. But again, I think the artwork is stunning. Like, it's so beautiful and so interesting. And I've never seen another deck that has artwork like this. And it's really beautiful. There are a couple of extra cards I like. I love this comment card, the Messenger, as an extra card. And then, once you get into the individual suits, it's flames for the Wands card. There's water droplets for the cups. There's like clouds for the swords, and then mountains for the pentacles. So there's the elemental associations are in there too. And again, I mean, it's a beautiful deck. It's really wonderful artwork, but it's one of those ones that doesn't quite overcome my kind of like usual lack of interest in animal decks. Like, I'm just not hugely interested in animal tarot decks. They don't tend to be ones that I gravitate towards. And the Oak, Ash, and Thorn overcame that, and this one doesn't, even though it is stunningly beautiful. I love this birch box. Like, everything about it is just a gorgeous deck. So this is another one that I'm going to be putting up for sale. So my next hit from decks that I acquired in the last few months. Those of you who have maybe been following my channel for a while, you probably know I am a massive, massive cat person. I love cats, and I am a huge crazy cat lady. However, I have had the hardest time finding a cat deck that I could really connect to and really enjoy. And I think I've worked with or looked at basically every cat deck on the market. And then last year, there was this point at which there were 2 new cat decks that were up on Kickstarter at the same time. And I, in my eternal optimism for finding a cat deck that I would really love, backed both of them because I was just like, you know what? I like both of them. Like, there's really cool things about the artwork for both of them. They're very different, and I'm going to back both, and we'll just see how it shakes out. And I just totally did that on a whim. And so the one that ended up being a hit is this one. And I assume you pronounce this Felis Arcani. This is by an artist named Taylor Hultquist Todd. And this deck is so cool. This is the one where I ended up being like, oh yes, I really love this artwork. So it comes in a beautiful clamshell box, and these are what the backs look like. It's this Milky Way back on them. And then she has this just incredibly detailed pencil drawing style of artwork. And you can see that this deck is just, I mean, it's totally Rider-Waite-Smith. It's just a fully cat-based version of the Rider-Waite-Smith, but I just loved this artwork so much. I loved the detail of it. I love that it's in black and white. I love the way she depicts the cats. I think, you know, there's this wonderful combination of them being sort of anthropomorphized. You know, you can see that they have costumes and stuff, but there's also like a fair amount of normal cat behaviors that they exhibit. So it's just like a good combo of things. And I just really loved this one. There's also some, you know, not just house cats in this one. There's like some lions and tigers and bobcats and, you know, other kinds of wild cats. And you can see that all the cats, I mean, they all have different faces and they all look unique. And I just honestly really loved this one. It just struck me instantly as soon as I opened it up and started looking at it and working with it. This one just, I don't know. This is my new cat deck. This is the cat deck that I have actually really fallen in love with. I don't know. Something about it just hits the sweet spot of a cat deck for me. So really love this one. Now, the cat deck that ended up being a miss for me, and like, it's not all that much of a miss, honestly. I think this deck is really cute. It has so much going for it. I was really close to actually just keeping both of them, and then I decided, you know what, I don't actually need 2 cat decks, and I don't like this one quite as much as the other one, but I still think this one is really, really adorable. This is the Cute Cat Tarot. So this is the other one that I had backed on Kickstarter at the same time. Again, this one comes in a nice magnetic box. And you'll see that it is back in order. This one actually comes with a guidebook. The Felis Arcani Tarot does not come with a guidebook, but like that's fine because it's completely Rider-Waite-Smith. There's no need to have a guidebook for it. But this one is super cute. It has holographic edges, which are really cool looking. And it's adorable. I mean, it's like all of this sort of pastel, like cartoon cats. They're friggin' darling. Like, look at this High Priestess. How cute is she? She is so cute. They are all extremely, extremely cute. I play Nico Atsume all the time, like that cat game where you like have a yard and you feed the cats in your yard on your iPhone. And, like I've been playing that for years because I just enjoy it. And these remind me of the cats in that game. I mean, they're so cute. They're like so cute. But again, I decided I did not need 2 cat decks, and I didn't need to hang on to this one because I didn't see myself necessarily reaching for this, whereas I did see myself reaching for the other one. But it's still just stinking adorable. I mean, look at this tower. The mouse has set the cat tree on fire. Like, that cracks me up. I mean, that's so cute. It's clever and charming and super cute. And like I said, I almost kept this one, and then I decided, yeah, I don't really need it. But it really does have a lot going for it. And it does also have an extra card called the Alignment. So super cute cat tarot, but I am going to be letting go of it. But I did find a cat deck, finally, that I love and want to hang on to. And so I'm treating that as just a massive achievement. Like, I finally have found success with a cat deck. So I feel like I've been waiting my whole life for that. So another hit that I experienced over the last couple of months, which I really knew was going to be a hit, is the Mystic Masters Tarot. This is by Danny Mystic, here on TarotTube. She created this deck, and this is one of those where I was, you know, following her creation of the deck because I could just tell that it was going to be my aesthetic, and it truly is. Like, this deck is so cool and beautiful. You can see that the artwork is this sort of antique engraving style, but then she's added paint and ink and all kinds of embellishments to it and stamping, and, you know, has really produced this sort of blend of vintage and modern in the look of this deck. And I absolutely love it. I think it's so beautiful. So this is one of those ones where I knew as soon as I got it, like, yeah, this is going to be a hit, because I had been watching her create this deck, and I kind of knew already that I was going to love this one. So another deck that I love the artwork, you know, love the choices of prints that she chose for the base of the artwork, and love all the embellishments that she added. And it's just really cool. So this is, again, the Mystic Masters Tarot by Danny Mystic, whose Etsy shop I am totally blanking on the name of right now, but I'll put it down in the description box. You know, if you're interested in this deck, I think she still has some for sale. So anyway, that is the Mystic Masters Tarot. Definitely a hit. So next up, another Etsy deck that I did end up buying off of Etsy, but didn't end up working out for me. Although again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this deck, and there are many, many wonderful qualities to it. So this is the Afro Avatar Tarot. And it's by Colored Afros, and I'm now blanking on the name of the actual artist, but she does have this for sale on Etsy. And this deck is based on Avatar, the TV show, which I have started watching. I have not watched the whole thing yet. I do really like it, and I really love the artwork of this deck, and I don't think it's completely like, I can understand all of the imagery in this card without having watched the entire show yet. I'm guessing that finishing the show will make this a bit of a, you know, a bit deeper for me, but I still think that, again, it's a deck that, even though it's wonderful, I probably don't need it, so I've decided to let it go. But it is really stunning. The artwork is gorgeous. She did a really, really beautiful job creating this deck. I'm just going to get into some of the minors here. Like, you can see how beautiful this is. And the thing about Avatar is that, you know, there's so much elemental stuff going on in Avatar. So there's a, you know, real clear elemental associations with different characters, because they're all part of different elementally based tribes. So that, you know, obviously there's a lot of opportunity there for what you can do with those characters in tarot. And I think that the artist did a really, really wonderful job. But it's one of those decks where it's not even that I don't like it, it's that I know I don't need it. So that's why I'm going to end up letting it go, but it's really stunning. So this next deck on my list, I am calling it sort of a conditional hit, because I really, really like it, and I like the imagery. I haven't worked with it yet, though, so we'll have to see how I get on with it when I actually do work with it. It's kind of a dark, spooky feeling sort of deck, so I'm not planning on working with it until around, you know, later in the year, more fall, Halloween time. But I did back this deck on Kickstarter. It is called the Tarot of Unknown Shadows. So let me pull it out here. It does have a little guidebook that it comes with. I keep it in this cool spooky Peggy bag that I think goes with it really well. So here is, I've got the mess here. Here's a little guidebook that it comes with. It's by this, by Dark Sinevere. I don't know how to pronounce that. But anyway, that's the creator. I believe that they are located in Ukraine, I believe. But they do have an Etsy, and they did have this deck on Kickstarter. So you can see it's a really, really cool deck. It has this sort of like coppery gold, sort of worn looking edging on it. Like, it definitely has a very like antique-y kind of vibe. Like, you can see on the back how, you know, the gilding on the back is sort of got this kind of antique-y looking, you know, sort of worn away in spots kind of look to it, which is really cool. And then the fronts, it's, you know, collage style. There is a fair amount of gilding on the fronts, and then these sort of vintage images. And like I said, I really like the imagery of this. I think it's really cool. It does have a very sort of, as you can see, kind of spooky feel to it. Like, I think it's really cool. It's a bit ghostly feeling in a lot of ways, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it reads. But again, you know, it's getting to be spring, and I haven't felt you know, really like working with it yet. So we'll see how it goes when it gets to be the time of year where it feels like this is a deck that I want to work with. But I do think it's really, really cool imagery. I love the vintage photography, and then the combination of the sort of black and white images and sepia with the gold accents, and I just think it's really pretty. So so this is very cool deck. Like I said, it's a conditional hit because I like the imagery a lot. I don't know how it reads yet, and we'll see how it goes when I do end up working with it, but it is one of those ones where I was taken enough with the imagery that I was like, yes, I'm definitely going to hang on to this and see how it ends up reading. So a deck that was a bit of a miss for me that I was really hoping I would love, but it just didn't quite hit the mark, is the Heart of Stars Tarot. So this is a deck that it used to be independently printed. Now you can get it on makeplayingcards.com. So that is where I ordered it from. But this is an entirely pop culture based deck. And again, I've got it all back in order because I do plan on selling it. There are so many references in these cards that I love, that absolutely just 100% hit the mark for me. You know, there's references you can see to Marvel, to Lord of the Rings, to Harry Potter, to Game of Thrones, to, you know, all kinds of, like, look, I mean, come on. Like, there's so much stuff in here that I really love. Some of it's cheeky, like the actual Wheel of Fortune on Wheel of Fortune. Like the Hanged Man from Empire Strikes Back. I mean, so there's some aspects of this deck that really, really work well for me. And then there are other aspects of the deck where I'm like, no, that's like totally wrong. Like, I don't think I actually reflected on it until I got the deck, but all of the pages in this deck, let me just show you. I'll get to some of the pages. Like, you can see there's like Superman, Mamma Mia, Game of Thrones, Star Wars, Marvel, James Bond, Lord of the Rings, like, but then each of the pages is a character from Harry Potter, and the associations are like so wrong to me. Like, why is Hermione the Page of Wands? It like all of the pages just don't make any sense to me, and I would switch them all around. So there are just some things like that where, like I said, I was so excited about the fact that there were Harry Potter characters in it that I didn't actually pay attention to, you know, how they use them. And then like Cedric is the Page of Cups. What? No, like that does not make any sense. So, you know, so there are aspects of it that I really love, and then aspects of it that I'm not quite as fond of. And then there are also a few cards where it's like, I don't actually, like, this is not actually a very well-known movie, or, you know, one that I know very much about or I'm interested in. So, you know, a lot of it's really cool. Some of it, not so much. It's just, there's a lot of hits in this deck for me, but also some misses. So I just decided that, I didn't, you know, plan to hang on to it, but I love the concept of it. And so much of it is, you know, absolutely hits the mark for me, but there's just a few things that are just not right for me. So my final hit for this video is the Cosmo Visions Oracle. Now, admittedly, I opened this box like 2 days ago, and I have not had a chance to work with this deck yet, but again, I'm calling it a conditional hit because I love the artwork of it. I'm fascinated with the concept of it. I'm really, really eager to work with it and see how it goes. And I'm excited about it. So I'm calling this a hit because I got it and I didn't instantly say, oh no, I'm never going to be able to work with this. I got it and I said, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And I don't yet fully know how I'm going to work with it, but I'm really excited to figure it out and see how it goes, and really make the effort to get to know this deck and all of the intention behind it. Because that, you know, this deck is a lot like a tarot in some ways, but it really has a focus on like past lives and sort of like the world beyond, you know, the experiences that you might have when you're between lives, and which is an interesting concept for me. It's not something that I've ever given a lot of thought to, or concepts that I've worked with before. Obviously it's stunning. This is by James R. Eads, who's the same creator as the Prisma Visions, which I also own, the Prisma Visions. It's not a deck that I talk about a lot, but I actually do really love it. And it's one of those decks where I don't work with it all the time, but there are certain occasions and certain people where I find that deck to be sort of the perfect thing, and I really reach for it in those moments. It's like, it's not a constant deck for me, but it's one where there are times where it's just exactly what I need. And so I'm really looking forward to working with this. There's probably been, I don't even know how many, like gazillion walkthroughs and unboxings of this, because the Kickstarter for this was really well done. It included so many wonderful goodies. The big book that comes with this deck that covers both this deck and the Prisma Visions is like stunning. It came with coins, stickers, card stand, like all of this various extra stuff. I mean, a bookmark. Like, it was a really wonderfully run Kickstarter with a lot of goodies, and I'm very, very excited about the deck. So again, I'm calling it a hit, even though I haven't worked with it yet, because I'm extremely excited about it, and it's a deck that I do intend to really take some time and energy to work with and see how it goes for me. So that is, again, the Cosmo Visions by James R. Eads, which to me is a hit. And finally, the last deck I'm going to talk about was a miss. So this is the Sacred Destiny Oracle by Denise Linn. And this is, this is a stunning Oracle deck. I'm pretty sure this is Hay House. Yes, Hay House. So this deck is absolutely beautiful. You know, it's Hay House, so it comes in a nice box. It comes with a nice chunky guidebook. The cardstock's really nice. It's nice and matte. The imagery on this deck is really beautiful and interesting, and you know, and I really, really like it, and it's a combination of beautiful imagery and a simple keyword. But it's just one of those situations where, again, there's nothing wrong with this deck, but there are other decks that I would reach for before this one if I'm looking for this kind of keyword image combination where I like the artwork a little bit better and I like the various assortment of keywords a little bit better. So, you know, it's a beautiful deck. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I mean, just flipping through it, like you can see how absolutely gorgeous the artwork is. But it's one of those ones where I just said, you know what, I like it, but I don't need it. So I am going to go ahead and pass it on. So anyway, that is the Sacred Destiny Oracle by Denise Linn, which was a miss. Again, it's one of those ones where, you know, sometimes I order a deck and I think I'm going to really love it. And then I get it. And as it turns out, I like it, but I just don't like it enough to keep it, and this totally falls in that category. So anyway, those are my deck hits and misses. I know I mentioned that there are a number of decks that I showed in the misses category that are decks that I plan to be letting go of. I am actually going to be doing a bigger sort of culling of my collection coming up here pretty soon, and so I will be listing these decks up for sale at that point with all of the other ones that I am planning on letting go of. But you know, so watch this space, and those decks will be going up for sale. In the meantime, you know, if you are really interested in one of them, feel free to reach out to me, you know, in a comment, or you can also email me at sunsetbow.com. That's not it. sunsetbow@gmail.com. And we can talk about you know, deck purchases, but you know, I will, like I said, be doing a more comprehensive kind of culling and deck collection reduction video here relatively soon. So anyway, again, that's kind of an update on decks that I've been working with and enjoying, or acquiring and deciding to let go of over the past couple of months. Thanks so much for watching, and yeah, it's great to be back doing a video again. So thanks so much to you all. Have a great one. Bye-bye.